big shock selections, okay, before
Stocks
you do
we've
it.
never heard before.
Yeah. I like the fact that you really went out on the creativity curve here. For Boeing,
wow,
Cleveland Cliffs, and Paramount Global. Go ahead.
I thought about these
in all
picks.
seriousness,
I thought
please.
about these picks long
It's
and
not
hard.
a joke. This is serious.
And you know, look, a lot of them are down from their all-time highs. And you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, do you believe in it? These are stocks, by the way, Judge, you know this, that I've been adding to over the last several months. So if I believed in them 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and they're down, you're supposed to add to them. You're supposed to step into them. That's what I've done. Now, starting with Boeing, do you want to say something?
I do, only because it makes me think.
Yep.
That's perfectly fine logic, of course.
Please.
But when a Boeing, for example,
Yep.
is up 52% in
This
the
is a good
past
point.
3 months,
Yeah.
do we really think it's got another massive burst ahead of it for a summit
No, this
pick?
is a really, really good point. And I think all of these are up in the recent time frame. So to everybody who's listening, if you don't own these, what I would say is start adding to them. But they are all up meaningfully, and one we're going to get to is up like 12% in the first 2 days of the month. And what I think you should do is start building your position. But I don't think you have to load the boat because, yes, there may be a little give back over the coming months. But from here to the year end, I see bright skies ahead, starting with Boeing, because, look, what you're looking for here is engine supplies to pick up. You're looking for China to start placing orders. That's a big if. But there's some news articles out there. Bloomberg's been talking the last week that maybe China is ready to warm relations with the U.S. And if that's what they want, the way they do that is by putting orders in and taking deliveries of the already ordered, already built planes, the 737 MAXs, that are sitting on the tarmac. But a lot of things have been going right for Boeing, and I think more can come through, particularly with engine supplies picking up.
Give me the scoop on Cliffs.
Yeah, Cleveland Cliffs, this stock was unnecessarily beaten down last year. If you look at the EBITDA that it's going to generate this past year, it looks like it's about $3.3 billion. 2 weeks ago, they announced, Lorenzo Gonçalves announced that they've reworked their orders with auto OEMs, which are about 50% of their business, where they're getting higher prices this year, 2023, than last year, at the same time that their costs of production are going down. Think energy in particular. That's what you want in a company. That $3.3 billion EBITDA last year, which might be higher this year, goes against an $8.5 billion market cap and a $13.5 billion enterprise value by any measure. This is a cheap stock, generating cash.
That's a nice little pop there. And finally, Paramount Global.
Yeah, so this one's up whatever.
You're not just trying to like say it today because it's up like 7%, right?
No. Look, I mean,
you wanted some absolute love on this?
If I said that, what would you say? You'd say it's down how much over the last year? 45, 50%, right?
I don't know. I might have. I might have. But
Yeah.
serious, why is this going to be the year?
Well, it's dirt cheap, 5.6% dividend yield, trades at half book value. You know, the multiple, I don't care whether we're looking at last year's multiple or this year's multiple, those are the wrong multiples. You need to look into the next year where the streaming business, Paramount Plus, which, by the way, apparently had, if you look at Apptopia, apparently had a great number of downloads last month. It's the fastest growing streaming business in the industry. And I don't want anybody to say to me, yeah, but it's off of a low base. Not anymore, okay? This is a meaningful throw weight amount of subscribers that they've got, still growing. And in 2024, that should not be the cash flow drag that it's going to be this year. It's just a matter of time before the market realizes that.
And what about
Yellowstone? A lot of Yellowstone, right?
That's a good contributor.
Great
good
success
contributor.
for them.
What about industrials as your sector pick? I mentioned it wasn't going to be financials, even though you like financials.
I do like financials. And look, first off, industrials, big, wide area that you can find things you like. It's defense and aerospace. It's railroads. It's transportation. It's the cats. It's the deers of the world. And ultimately what this comes down to is economic activity. I caught Joe a little bit. You were talking about, I forget what you were talking about, but you said we're in a contraction. Then you caught yourself, well, we may be headed into a contraction. A lot of people think we're in an economic contraction right now from which we're going to recover. Michael Burry over the weekend, by any stretch of the imagination, by any definition, we're in a recession. No, we're not. Okay, GDP right now is projected by the Atlanta Fed at 3.9%. We're not going into a recovery. Okay, economic activity is strong on the back of capex and infrastructure spending, and that will benefit industrials.
We're in a contraction, but I don't want to debate it.
But tell me, how do you say it?
More. Can I comment on the
Please,
stocks?
have I said a word? Go ahead.
Two
You'll
things.
know
Number
when I
one,
say
Boeing,
enough is enough.
I like buying the strong momentum, and certainly there's a balance sheet that, once fully repaired, is going to look to investors incredibly attractive.